Assalamu alaikum, good evening, welcome to another edition of the Community Talk Show. I'm your host, Mohammed Amin, and today's program will be in two parts. The first part will be a cultural program, and then the second part we've got a guest coming as well, and we'll no doubt share that information with you in due course. As always, our programs are about achievers in Alum Rock. We try and promote local talent. And what you're going to remember is when Radio Aapke Awaaz was set up, the whole purpose of Radio Aapke Awaaz was to promote community programs, to promote local talent, especially talent in Alum Rock, but more importantly Birmingham and the wider community. And hopefully you will see today that we will not disappoint you. So there you are, just bear with us and we will run this program and you will hopefully enjoy the session today. As always, you can listen to me on www.aapkeawaaz.co.uk. I appreciate I'm on a little bit earlier than the advertised time, and I'm doing this deliberately because, as you know, I always spend a couple of minutes, couple of minutes on the intro, and then I just want to make sure that even with my intro, my guest doesn't lose out on the time. So that's the main reason to starting this program a little bit early, to make sure that that people tune in at 9 o'clock. So I've got a couple of minutes before 9, and we'll touch base on that. www.aapkeawaaz.co.uk. You can listen to us on the Radio Garden app, Hindi radio app, and also the Aapke Awaaz app. If you would like to sponsor a program, our number as always is 07944 808 141. These community programs, I can only do them if you, the community at large, come forward. Let me know that you want to come onto the program. Let us know here at the radio station that you want to take part in any one of our community programs to raise awareness of a community issue, to raise awareness of a community project. And more importantly, this is your community radio station. And without your engagement, without your support, I can't sit here and do these programs. As you know, all of our volunteers on this radio station give their time up for the benefit of the community. We always welcome your feedback. And my learned colleague, Ikram Saab, is always eager to find out what you would like to what would you like us to present, any specific program that you would like us to mention, or any specific topic that you would like us to cover off. And that's the whole reason of these programs. So, as always, we are here to serve the community. Now, today's program will be in two parts, as I've said to you, and the first part will be with my guest here, young British professional and author. And without further ado, I will introduce the gentleman, and then I will pose some questions to the gentleman, and then hopefully we will ask appropriate questions, or if there's any particular questions you would like us to cover off, again, let me know and we will gladly cover them this evening. Firstly, I'd like to introduce my guest, Rizwan Aslam Mirza. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to my show. Apologies, when I'm doing these programs, I break into Pahari, I break into English, and I do it deliberately. So our program specifically will be English. And the whole purpose of this is to welcome you to our studio. And before I go into the document that you've prepared, the purpose of why you prepared it, just would like you to give a brief intro to who you are and what you do for a living, because we always want young people to come forward from Alam Rock to tell us that we are a very tight-knit community, a multicultural community, but we have talent in our great district of Alam Rock. Now, when you look at the city of Birmingham, there's always this big plan of Birmingham, and everybody talks about the big plan of Birmingham, and you always get the people on the peripheral side of it talk about discussions of what they do, the projects that they deliver, and what have you. And as always, we get marked as one of those 69 deprived wards in the area. But unless we promote the talent, it doesn't go any further. So that's the whole purpose of it. We would like to promote it. So over to you.
Assalamu alaikum. Firstly, thank you very much for inviting me to give me the opportunity on the book to share my views and thoughts on that. My name is Rizwan Aslam. I was born in Alam Rock. I always lived here. We did move to Kashmir, which my family is from, in Mir Azad, Kashmir. We did go back for a couple of years, but then we came back. So yes, I was born bred in Alam Rock, always lived here, went to university, got a master's in pharmacy, been serving the community pharmacy for like over 10 years. Plus, also a lot involved in the community as well, especially with the youth, and solving a lot of the problems there, whether it's trying to encourage them, to inspire them to do more than what they've been told to do, the bare minimum, give them further aspiration, especially into motivate them through which helped me a lot to get far in life is through Islam, which is the backbone of for us, a motivator.
MashaAllah.
So working with the youth, inspiring them, and that's where I'm involved.
Viewers and listeners, there you are. You've heard it from the gentleman himself, Rizwan Aslam Mirza, Birmingham, born and bred, a community pharmacist, mashallah, done his master's in pharmacy, and he's serving the community as part of his day job, but also he's strong in his faith, and these are the things we want the young generation to come up and discuss that with us. Assalamu alaikum, Mohammed Mustaq, Bubu Shukriya ji, asana program tak rehna. Going back to the publication, what motivated you to put this publication together?
My main motivator was while speaking to the Muslims at large, especially in Alam Rock, speaking to the youth, and the majority of the people in Alam Rock come back from Kashmir heritage, whether it's from Azad Kashmir or specifically Mirpur. But when I was trying to inspire the youth generation and the elders one thing that was lacking, what I find in people, is they were demoralized, meaning they felt weak as a community, as people together. They feel weak, demoralized, oppressed. They felt that there's nothing they can do. They don't have any capability. They don't have any ability, and they will continue for the rest of their life living in subjugation. And there's nothing they can do. And this was something that I've generally felt, and through my research, really provoked my emotions, because I believed, and through the research, to empower the people, to make them understand something. In fact, that is not the case at all. If you look at it, in fact, there's been purposely drilled down to these people and our community, our youth, that you guys are useless. There's nothing you guys can do as peoples, individuals, as a nation, as people, and you'll all be backward. So that was my motivator, to research and find out and show to the people, in fact, you have the capability and ability to be the leading people of the world, just like our previous generations were. Hence what I wanted to compile was research and show them the factual, keep it purely factual, of what we actually got. So example I'll give you to you. So imagine if I had £1 billion in my bank account. However, I did nothing with it, and I felt useless, demoralized, and so everyone told me that there's nothing I could change, I could bring about. And all I'm going to do is, I'm just going to make dua and wait for Imam Mahdi to sort all the problems out.
Yeah.
Even though I've got all the ability, you would say, Riz, you're an idiot, because you got the means to bring about massive change. And this is what I want to illustrate to the Muslim at large. they're in the exact same position. They've got the mass resources to be leading nations around the world. They don't have to live in poverty. They don't have to live in subjugation. They do have the ability and capability. However, they've been told from day one that they do not have these. Hence why because if you're being always told that you don't have the capability, you're weak, this will affect the way you think, and the way you think will affect the way your actions occur. And that's why you find we're the least productive community, because this is what's been drilled down from generation to generation. So this is more of empowering and waking them up through education and giving them to change their thinking. And with thinking, that will trigger the emotions. The thought and the emotion will trigger the reaction, and you'll see positive results through that. And that will be productive not just as a local area, as a community, but as a nation as well. And that's my main motivation for that.
That is very, very good, inspirational response from you. So, like when you were going through your education, you went to university, mashallah, you graduated, and you graduated further in masters in pharmacy. Did you always come across people to say, where do you come from? Where do you live?
Yeah, that was typical. I mean, people. There were many other people from Alam Rock with me to university and other places. But people will, when that question would ask, everyone will be embarrassed to say Alam Rock. But in fact, I never was. I've always. It's not a hidden secret. Everyone knows I'm from Alam Rock. My university friends, everyone in my class, everyone knew from Alam Rock. It is what it is, and it's got unfortunately the incorrect perception out there. Just a small area, but it's got massive incorrect.
But you've hit the nail on the head. We've got professionals, we've got doctors, dentists, accountants, pharmacists like yourselves. Mashallah, you're not just a normal pharmacist. You're a master in pharmacy, and you're a pharmacy manager as well. Mashallah, so you've done extremely well in your job as well. But there comes to a point in your life when if somebody says in our mother tongue to say you're a nakamma. And if you're a nakama and you're constantly it comes to the point where you think, oh, well, I'm a nakama, I'm not going to do anything. So what motivated you to spend, because obviously, you're very busy, you've got a busy family life. What motivated you to do some research and put this publication together?
What motivated me was one of the examples I've come across in the seerah of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu. I wanted to have this kind of the same mentality, and I wanted Muslims to adopt the exact same mentality. Where an example we had in the Battle of Trenches, the Battle of Khandaq, where Muslims were very small and they were digging the trenches outside Medina, and what was coming for them was a massive army from Mecca, way big numbered, a lot more better equipped, and this was extinction moment for the Muslims in Medina. However, while they were digging the trenches, this is very interesting. There's a big rock that the companions couldn't break, so they called the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu and asked him to help them, and he struck that rock 3 times. And when they struck the rock, there were 3 big sparks came from there. And the Prophet ﷺ gave interpretation what these sparks meant. The first spark, he said, he saw that Muslim will conquer Persia. Syria. And remember, this is they're very small at that time in Medina. He said, we're going to conquer Syria. Second spark, he said, we're going to conquer Persia. And the third one was Yemen. And this is very interesting. This is at the time when they're very weak, they're about to be wiped out from this massive army approaching them. And the mentality, if you look at the Muslims around him, what was the mentality? And this is something I want to embrace, and the rest. They did not say to Muhammad Sallallahu, this is crazy what you're telling us.
Let's just give in and go home, forget this.
Yeah, we're going to get wiped out. There's a massive army here. We're outnumbered. We don't know whether they're going to exist or not. And you're talking about conquering Persia, Yemen, and Syria. But think about it, why did these Muslims not have that mentality? Because what it was, because the Deen of Islam gives us optimism. It gives us to be the visionary, to see no matter what circumstances you're in, you might think you're in the most weakest position, the smallest position, all odds are against us. But however, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to be the visionary and be an optimist and have that long-term vision, a global vision. And it is only by having that you'll see you'll be able to overcome these challenges, and then you and your next generation will be able to prosper. And we saw this in a live example. The Muslim did conquer Syria, did conquer Persia and Yemen.
That's right.
And likewise, this is what I want the you to embrace as well. Likewise, with our nation, if our nations, for Muslim to prosper, if we don't prosper, at least in our lifetime, but this vision we can pass on to the new generation. They will aspire. We want them to aspire to the global, the long-term vision. And if we don't achieve it, our children might achieve it. But we have to give them that vision and be optimistic. And hence why I wanted to collate all the resources to give it to the people to say, look, you have the ability. Like I said, the same way I said, if I had £1 billion, I'm going to show you, look, you got the resources, military capability, resources with the water, oil, gas, all these kinds of things. So I want to collect the facts so people can see, actually, you know what, we actually can do something with this.
So your publication, Resources of the Ummah Kashmir. So you've written this book, and you've put a lot of material together. Again, what was encouraging you when you were researching about Kashmir? What was encouraging you to carry on to put something together?
So I wanted to see, okay, look, people are demoralized. Let's see what do we actually got. Let's put everything what everyone's told me. Let's actually look at research. What actual facts do we have? We can collate together. I know lithium was quite big, interesting at the moment. The world is lithium is the next goal,
Lithium is
there's a big hunt for lithium everywhere. And I came across a report that Kashmir,
right.
which is the Chinese part of that, they got massive amount of lithium that they found. And then that led me to what else do we have? Let's look at what else exploration is taking place, and then you led me to one thing after another. And the most interesting part for me was lithium and also the water resources, which inshallah I'll expand later on, which was really like a wow factor for me. And then when I looked at that, then it made me think, how can these people be so demoralized? They just don't know it. That's my issue.
So the rest of the world, they were predominantly oil-based economies. Now there's a shift from fossil fuel to wind turbines, hydro, solar, battery cars, and what have you. My question again, as a devil's advocate, has Kashmir got these resources?
The biggest one is, again, the lithium. They've got massive amount. In fact, one of the biggest finds in the world, they've got it. And unfortunately, the Chinese themselves, they want to hold all of it, and they want to use it for themselves. So that's, again, interesting facts, research into my book. You'll be able to see exactly how many tons that we got and the amount. And also what's interesting as well is, just remember, there's not much money being spent in exploring our region for resources. From the little money that's been spent on finding these resources, whether there's a gypsum, we got bauxite, and all these used for construction, and we got coal and gold as well. Whatever little they have spent, and they found enormous amount. So just imagine, as we were to prosper as people, we were to invest our money to actually explore, we would find a lot more. And we've been blessed. Allah has blessed with all these resources.
When you look at the glaciers of the Himalayas, you look at the natural spring water, the natural glaciers. Where do those glaciers feed into when the water melts off the ice caps in the summer? Then, so where does that water filter down to?
So, very interesting. The water is our equivalent of a nuclear power that we have. And it's very strategic. And if I can explain into the significance of this water supply that's coming down, just remember that you got a population of 1 billion. We got India, which relies it's agriculture economy, and it relies purely upon the water that sources from the Himalayas, which comes from Kashmir. Then you have Pakistan, which is again 200 million population, agriculture-based industry, and that the sources of the water for that comes from where? Kashmir. So people need to understand it as and the way to appreciate the water resource of Kashmir you have, that imagine if you were to have the power to switch off that tap in Kashmir from the source itself, what would happen to India? People say they have nuclear weapons, they got this much army, switch that tap off, what would happen to the population? The whole country will come to standstill. Likewise for Pakistan, they were to do the same, it will come to standstill. Meaning this is the superpower the people of Kashmir have, were they to have control over them resources to utilize against their enemies if they wanted to. However, the beauty of it as well, not just these big nations that rely upon the freshwater glaciers that's coming through Kashmir. Remember, there's the water is the basic necessity of life. We have abundance of it, and not only that, the water, something else comes from that which makes a society and nation prosper, is generating electricity. Again, we have the using these freshwater flows into building hydroelectric power. And even if you look at the developments that's happened into, for example, if you look at in Mirpur, you got the Mongla Dam, for example. Regardless of the abuse of where the electricity, that's a different topic. But if you look at that, what has that done? It caused prosperity into the region around it and to the regions of Pakistan. However, that's only working at a very small capacity, and they can extend it. But that's just one dam. You need to think, okay, so if this small dam, this project itself, has given so much to the people and prospered, hold on, why are we not building more dams? This is something that I want people to start thinking, okay, why don't we do that? Why don't we invest in that? And we've seen last week as well, in Pakistan, leading to this, it will all make sense. Why do we keep getting mass flooding in Pakistan?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say to you.
I mean, just last year, what happened? 1/3 of Pakistan was flooded, causing billions of damage. And every year is the same repetitive cycle. Why is keep flooding to happen? Because the excess water and the flooding, the water in itself, if you appreciate it, is actually a blessing for us, which Allah has given. But because it's mismanaged, misdirected, it's causing our destruction. However, this same water, if we were to utilize it, make these hydroelectric power dams, generate electricity, we would be super nation. And if you look at the thinking nations around the world, look at America, they had similar issue where they are mass flooding. But what did these thinkers do? They said, this is actually, we can utilize this. Yeah. They made dams from it. And what that generated electricity, which led to what? Look how the prosperity that occurred. And they did call less destruction.
Well, it's like you can make an equivalent of the Hoover Dam in Kashmir. You know, there's not an issue, but it's just the appropriate thought process has to be there in the first place, doesn't it?
The thinking, and you know, someone also mentioned this. Someone, and the first thing they said was, we can't afford it. You know, it costs billions and billions. And I'll tell you why that is a lie. Because what happens every year with these flood damages that causes, it causes billions of damage.
That's right.
And what happens around the world, it's like a repetitive. People send millions and millions. And it's a repetitive cycle. So one of the things from this book, what I want people to achieve is have this mentality of don't think about the symptoms. Think of the root cause. So example I give you is, imagine you had a chest infection, bacterial chest infection, you went to the doctors, and you want the doctor to give you antibiotics so you can get rid of that chest infection. But imagine the doctor turns around and says, I understand the issue, but I'm going to give you a cough syrup just to soothe it down. What will happen? You be ill.
I still got my chest infection,
It will never go away because you need to tackle the root cause of the issue. And secondly, because this will reoccur. And secondly as well, if you think about it, the money is not in the issue. And it's a lie we've been told to. Whether it costs 10 billion, 20, 50, let's say 100, let's say 200 billions in the cost to build multiple dams. But however, let's think back 12 months ago. What happened? We had the Qatar Football World Cup.
Yes.
How much of the Ummah's money was spent on entertainment? 230 billion. For what? Few weeks of entertainment?
4 weeks even.
3-4. Why is it for but it's entertainment. So 300 billion for entertainment. Why cannot that be money be spent for dams? With the Muslim, they will benefit to build that. Think about it. We hear all the time Manchester United, this being bought out for billion here, billion there. there is enough money available. It's a lie that we've been told we do have the ability, capability, the money power, it exists. But however, we need to start be able to think and then account those who are misusing and misdirecting the money and challenging them. But this is again goes to empower. If we don't know we have these capabilities, you will never think to do that.
It's quite interesting. You brought the Qatar World Cup into it because globally everybody's talking about ESG principles like environmental, social governance, and the ozone layer and whatever you. Nobody thought to comment about the millions of people traveling to Qatar and all the planes and all the fumes and everything. Nobody thought to mention about the ozone layer then, though, did they?
Mm.
So basically, from your book, then you've researched it. You put some sections in the book, and obviously that's your first draft. No doubt you will expand on it or whatever you. What's the general feedback you've had from people who you've discussed it with or you've shared it with?
Well, I had fantastic feedback, and it was like a penny has dropped. Like whoa, especially those younger generation who've never been there, the parents were from there, but they lived here, and they really like, whoa, is this where the land where we come from? This is the capability. We didn't know. We thought it was just mud huts back there. We never knew we had the resources, and this is what we actually can do with it. So it's been like a light bulb, a moment for them, and the way I've organised it and put this unique way, this book, and I've done it in a very specific purpose as well. Because some people have asked me, okay, these resources that I put together, collected, why is it that I've not put it as, for example, the Indian occupied Kashmir, how much resource they have, the Chinese part, how much they have. Because what I've done is I was trying to illustrate something very important message to the people out there. Look, we need to think about removing these artificial borders which have been imposed upon us. And look what it gives us. If you were to remove these borders, we have control of our own stake, our own lands. Look at this collective resource and power that gives us. And that is a wow factor. Of course, if you put lines in between, you divide and carve these resources up, that we consider it doesn't give you the ability, the capability. But you remove these colonialists, where there's British agent Cyril Radcliffe have imposed upon us, remove that and look, the wow factor will happen. Likewise, I would like the Muslim to use exactly the same thing that I've done to Kashmir, cross-apply that to the Middle East, the Muslim lands, where there's British Sykes-Picot, they imposed our one land into 54 and divided, carved our lands up and weakened us. I want you to apply the exactly same principle and use the wow moment will come to that. That will really start thinking and trigger the emotions and the ability as well.
And like we've been discussing about the resources they have and what have you. But like when you go into the major supermarkets, and I was talking to a large food manufacturer a few weeks ago, and I was talking about New Zealand lamb, right? And New Zealand lamb obviously comes from New Zealand, right? But it's halal. But it's not labeled as halal, right? If you look at the codes, you got your smartphone, you look up your code, it comes up as it is, right? So, but you want to just buy that lamb and say, yeah, it's halal. You don't want to spend 10 minutes searching on the net and just to read the code. And it's like, what about, again, there's a section in your book that I read about the fruits, the vegetation, though. You just touch on that a little bit so people understand that there's certain types of fruits that come from that region, but we generally don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's good detail in there where I've talked about the apples, cherries, grapes, and the significance, and it's quite a massive amount that we produce as well. But to be honest, out of the whole book, my favorite, and why out of all of them, chapter 1 I've dedicated to the water resources, because for me, personally, for myself, that was my wow factor, and that was the biggest factor. I want people, if anyone's going to read the book and don't read or just read chapter 1, I want about the water potential that we have, because that's a wow factor for me. No doubt about the fruits, the very where there's saffron, when they go into your apple, the quality of them, the production, and how we can mass produce them as well and further extend them. Because one thing Allah SWT has blessed us Muslim in that land, and people from the older generation will be able to tell you, is if you want to plant anything that you want, pretty much you put that seed in that fertile soil, which is not blessed anywhere else around the world as much. If you put anything you want to grow in there, it will grow in there, because of the type of season, the humidity and the temperatures that you get. And so if you were to do that on a mass scale, with that, and the people want to venture and go into that, I'll encourage them to do that. Because just think about this now. Why and how we have poverty in our lands,
Yeah.
when we have the most fertile soil and the ability to grow all these amazing fruits and vegetables, and how's that even possible? And just think about this: UK, the Western nations, why is the surplus of food and there's a huge amount of diabetes and amount of food available, yet they don't grow anything?
Yeah.
But yet, why is there poverty in our lands? Yet we have the fertile soil, we have
that's
the
true.
capability, ability. It all comes from these regions as well. So why is even the farmers even starving who grows these things, and he can't make ends meet? How's that even possible? So we need to think deeper. As in fact, there's something systemic going on here. This can't be right. There's exploitation. So we need to look at deep root of issue of the problem, and look at it in a systemically.
And moving on, just summarising now, what other projects have you got lined up?
I've been reading quite a few. My next one favorite is I'm looking at the military capabilities of the Ummah. So I'm looking at whether there's a Pakistani Air Force, Pakistani Army, whether it's Egyptian, whether it's a Turkish, and looking at the means and abilities that we have. Because again, you always get this defeatist idea from Muslims. When you tell them about anything, we can't do anything. America's too powerful. They're the most big powerful Air Force, military force, and if you try to do anything, it won't happen. And in fact, reality, when you look at the facts, when you combine our armies together, where there's even a couple of nations together, we make up the world's biggest army. We have the most amount of tanks, Air Force, and in fact, something small I'll tell you is, look, we all experience cost of living. What happened when gas and oil prices went up? We came to standstill. But who owns the biggest gas field and oil fields? We do. What happens when we turn the taps off? Second example, look at Evergreen, the container ship. When that got stuck in the Suez Canal,
the whole world
world stopped. But hold on, think about it.
Who controls that?
Who controls the strategic points? We do. So again, this should inspire and make people think, actually, we do have the ability to have to live subjugation. Why do we have poverty? We do. That should not be the case. And we've been ordered to be optimistic, and we need to look at the blessing Allah SWT has given us. And we have the largest amount of population, and the youth is the one that, if it doesn't happen in our lifetime, at least this vision and these ideas, we can at least inspire the next generation. They'll be the leaders, and they will bring us out of this subjugation, because the Muslims cannot live in subjugation, in defeatist mentality, and this is something we must reject.
Thank you, Rizwan. One final point, where if our viewers, listeners would like to purchase that copy of the book that you've written, please just, I've mentioned the name before, but just mention the name and where it's available.
So this book is it's an ebook, so it's available on Amazon. So if you're on Amazon, if you type in Resources of the Ummah, Kashmir file, you can download it. It's only £1.99. And again, forward it to all your family and friends, spread it wide as you can. And I've made it so it's geared towards the youth, the new generation, in an easy to read format. And what's unique about this, the way I've written this book, it collates all the resources of Kashmir in one, rather separated.
Viewers and listeners, those who can view me, I've just put a picture of it so you can see what it's like. As Rizwan has said, if you search Resources of the Ummah Kashmir on Amazon, it's available on Kindle, and it's a fantastic read. And it's quick, short, sharp. It gets you all the factual information that you need. Once again, thank you very much for listening to my special edition program. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of you. Thank you very much. And inshallah, we'll have another session in the near future, and we can discuss specific topics, especially the water, your favorite project. So, inshallah, we'll be in touch soon. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum.